Hi, my name is Scott Ritsema. I'm recording at Amazing Discoveries again, and I'm very excited to share the latest messages. But even more importantly, I asked for a few minutes to speak to the viewers about something that's very important on my heart that I wanted to talk about. You may not know how important Amazing Discoveries is, but I want to share just a few minutes of my testimony. And every testimony has many different stepping stones on the path and the journey toward truth and a decision. But in my own journey, I'll tell you something, there was one key stepping stone of the many. It was back in about 2005. At that time, for a number of years, I had been a historian. I was teaching economics and history and government. And the way that I studied history was perhaps a little divergent from the way that the traditional history textbooks would present things. And I was exploring perhaps what you might call the unseen side of history, which you're not being told. And I had a good friend who was a missionary, who was a speaker and a preacher. My good friend Chad Cruiser. We grew up together, and Chad had come into the remnant movement, and I had kind of watched him from a distance, and I was a little bit unsure of this thing. I had learned a couple of things about present truth before this time, but I was talking to Chad about history and about world events and what's going on in the political world. Chad said, "You know, Scott, I need to point you to a certain ministry. You need to view the information being put out by Amazing Discoveries." And now Chad Cruiser, of course, is an Amazing Discoveries speaker as well. But at that time, he said, watch this series called Total Onslaught. And so I got online and I watched. I remember it was on Google Video back in the days of Google Video. I watched these things one after the other, and I said, what? Seventh-day Adventists are clued into some of this stuff. They're really teaching. I'm learning a lot here from this message about what's really going on in the world. At that time for me, that was my focus. That was my study, was to learn what's really going on in history and to see that this was a movement of people that were presenting these truths. That was eye-opening for me. And I'll tell you, as I look back on my conversion, on my journey, on how I came to understand and make a commitment to the three angels' messages and to having a ministry myself, I look back and I wonder, had that not taken place, had I not been exposed to the material of Amazing Discoveries, who knows what would have happened after that. But I just want to say thank you to Amazing Discoveries for playing that place. And I want the viewers to understand that ministries like this, that are putting out this kind of media, understanding the health message, present truth, everything that we have to share, if it weren't for these media outlets, there would be many souls who may not be reached. So support Amazing Discoveries. Our ministry, Belt of Truth Ministries, would not exist as it is today if it weren't for Amazing Discoveries. So I just urge you, get behind them, order their DVDs, do whatever you can to spread the word and make sure that this message and this ministry and movements like this can thrive, because they're winning souls and they're reaching people who may not be reached through other methods.